Hello, how are you? My name is Eefke Smit. I belong to the STM Association, a member organization of international publishers, and I'm very happy to present to you this webinar about STM's Tech Trends 2024. It's part of the Chinese STM Journal Action Plan for Excellence, fostering high-level journal operation talents project. And this particular session was organized by KI Communications Co. Limited. I'm presenting to you today our annual forecast of technology trends that we believe will impact the sector, the publishing communication sector for scholarly research. And we do that every year in an infographic. And you see part of the infographic here. And the main theme of this year is focus on the user, connect the dots. Let me take you into the picture. As you can see, this year's infographic is a starry sky, a galaxy, a universe, where the central point of gravity is the user, who is right in the middle. And around the user, you see different spheres that we think define the main characters of the user of scholarly communication. And the message of this year is focus on the user and see what the user finds important. And then in the stars around the user, which work like a knowledge graph, in the stars you will see all the opportunities that publishing organizations have in the coming years. But before I start explaining this picture, and you see it here translated into Chinese, before I start explaining this picture, I would like to take you through the process. This is the same picture in English, which you can find on our website of STM. And here's a little bit more about the process. As you can see, this is very much group work. This is collaboration at work. Once a year, we gather the most important technology people of the main members of STM. We gather them into a room. And this is usually a group of around 30 to 35 people. We're meeting annually in London. And of course, these pictures were taken before the COVID-19 pandemic started. And as you can see, it is a very lively gathering with a lot of people, very cozy. We're not sure if we can repeat the exercise this year because times have changed a lot for us, but maybe we will try to do something similar online now. What we used to do in the past few years, because this is more or less the 10th edition of STM's Tech Trends, what we did in other years is assemble a group of people in a room, lock ourselves up for a whole or half a day, and brainstorm so long until we have a joint view on the next few years. This year we had 28 participants from STM member organizations. These were mostly senior staff in innovations, technology, strategy, business development, working on platforms or in IT. And at the end of the afternoon, we form an editing committee who takes all the brainstorming results and morphs them into a consensus view, which we then translate to one infographic. We're very grateful to the sponsors that we have. IEEE is always sponsoring the design of the poster, and Springer Nature is our generous host who makes available the meeting room. The brainstorm takes place along the method that is called the Delphi Method. This is a well-known forecasting technique. You can find more about it on Wikipedia. It's already 50 or 60 years old. Its origin is from the Cold War, when at both or all sides of the geographical tensions, people were trying to forecast where the defense technology of the other party might be developing. Of course, in this context, we use it in a far more peaceful manner, but we use the same method because it's a very good forecasting technique. The whole idea behind the Delphi method is simple, and that is that you bring a lot of experts together in one room, and they all express their views. So as you can see, during the process, we create a room full of views, we scribble them on flip charts, we discuss them between each other. And the whole idea behind the Delphi method is that in 2 or 3 discussion rounds, you come to a certain consensus and an overall picture comes up. That is what we did here. I already told you that we've been doing this process for around 10 years already. And I would like to show you a few of the results of previous years. Here you see some of the infographics that we did in the past 5 years. And it is always nice to look back to see, to check whether the forecasting that we did then came true in the years thereafter. Our usual time horizon is 3 to 5 years. So it's interesting to look back at the one that we did 5 years ago, which is on the left-hand top side, where you see something like a clockwork with a lot of cogs that make each other move. And this picture was all about research data. And right now, I would like to say we couldn't have been more right, because research data is now a very firm topic on the agenda of research and research communication. And you can see there a very important central cog saying that data should be treated as first-class research objects, and also that the article would start to function in a hub-and-spoke model where a lot of different research outputs would be connected together. Then in the middle, you see a wild sea with many currents, which influence each other. And that sea gave the first views on the usefulness of big data in combination with artificial intelligence, with automated knowledge generation, and providing very customized information to the researchers. Especially automated knowledge creation and industrialization of research were a central element in this picture. On the right-hand side, you see a pinball machine, and the pinball machine tried to express that there's always a chance element within all the opportunities that technology provides us. And the chance element is in the way the ball can hit a certain opportunity that will define how long it will stay in the play. And this pinball play was all about trust and integrity as the core element of scholarly communication. Then we go to the lower side on the left, where you see a picture that was completely dedicated to artificial intelligence. And within the brain of the publisher, you see all the opportunities that artificial intelligence has for the publishing process. And around it, you see the bubbles of all the challenges and opportunities that the publisher is facing. Then the middle picture was the picture of last year, which is all about collaboration. And you see a rock band playing together, because the idea is that many different stakeholders have to come to one tune in scholarly communication. And this tune is again about open science, about trust and integrity, about a good user experience, and collaboration on infrastructure. So as you can see, this is sort of the context in which we've been making these infographics, and many of them have been very well on the spot. So with this in mind, please let me take you on the galactic journey of this year's infographic, which is the starry sky. And as I said, in the middle of that starry sky is the user. And the user has a very central place in the picture now. Perhaps you will be saying, why did it take them 10 years before they understood, before all these clever people understood that it's all about a user? Was the user less important in previous years? Well, I think that is a very good question. Maybe in previous years, the focus was very much on technology and less on the user, but that is different this year. And there's an extra reason why the user is now so important. Because the whole group of people who did this brainstorm, they believe that a new kind of user is entering the workspace, is entering the research labs, and is entering academia. And that is the young generation who has always lived with internet. And these people are true diginatives. They know no life without an internet. And being and acting as a diginative makes that they use and consume, but also generate digital information differently. And that is what we try to capture in the 4 circles that you see around the user. The new user is a person who says, let me do it my way. Treat me as a diginative. Also, show me I can trust you. Because on internet, you don't always see the people, but you do want to know if the information that you get is trustworthy. Another element, very much in academia, is prove the research integrity to me. Give me control over my data, especially the research data. Make AI work for me, make artificial intelligence work for me, and make things easy for me. So those are the 7 core principles for the new user. And I would like to take you through various opportunities that are available now for publishers to do and serve the new user better in a digital context. So let's first look at the 3 top elements. And that is, let me do it my way, treat me as a diginative, and make things easy for me. That is probably something that the whole new generation finds important, not particularly researchers. So this is a very general statement, but in a research environment, it creates very new opportunities. For example, a researcher who wants to do it my way wants precision information. They like stuff to be personalized. They like to see customized learning tools, suggestions for new topics, new collaborations, micro-publications. Micro-publications means that you give them exactly that little bit in a longer publication that they need for their own research. They want new kind of outputs. They want everything on demand. There's some fear of missing out, so they want to get delivered what is of immediate relevance for them. They want more images, more video, a faster UX. And if we move clockwise down to the other circles, they want to be treated as a diginative. They want everything mobile, via mobile devices. They want a very fast user interface. They want less text. They want more video. They also have different values, different ethics. The new generation is more climate conscious. Maybe they also are more sensitive to Black Lives Matters movements or Me Too initiatives. And sometimes Generation Z says, bye-bye boomers. I say that because I'm from the boomer generation. I have a son who's of Generation Z, and if he says bye-bye boomer, I know what he means. He means to say, we do things very differently. Take that into account. Then we come clockwise to the yellow area, which is all about trust. Show me I can trust you. So people want trust verification. They want no echo bubbles on the internet. They want the context explained. They want some collective action so that they know that the big platforms give honest information and treat their user data in an honest way. For that, algorithms need to be transparent, need to avoid bias. They want some regulation to make sure that all of that happens. And from the trust, we move very closely to the white area of proving the research integrity. And this is actually one of my favorite areas in this infographic, because I think that this is an area where publishers can play a particular role. And the role we can play is about certification tools and making sure that the information that gets published is verified, that all the trust and integrity measures are in place, that there's no fake news or fake science, that the quality is assured, that there's digital protection, that there's transparency about how information is treated. For example, transparent peer review. And that brings us to the whole area of open science, which is now very popular. And in open science, publishers can add a lot of important elements. For example, check reproducibility, have checks on data manipulation, image manipulation, things like that. Make sure that what gets published is really of high quality and that people can trust it. From research integrity and from open science, it's a very small step to the next area, here pictured in red, and that is the area of research data. As you saw already 5 years ago, our infographic was completely dedicated to research data, and this has become an area that is now really fully alive. There's the whole movement behind fair data. That means data that is findable, accessible, interoperable, reusable. STM started a research data year in which we help publishers to encourage the authors to share more data. And our motto for that data year is share, link, cite. And that makes it possible to connect projects, to connect people. If you combine research data with AI tools, you come to what some people label as smart science, and a little bit closer to automated knowledge generation, one of the elements that we had 2 or 3 years ago in our picture. So the whole area of data is fully alive. We're also thinking about how to organize data peer review, to connect all outputs, to come to things about data security, interactive data tools, and you see many more possibilities there in that area. And the red area is closely connected to the orange area, which is about AI, artificial intelligence. 2 years ago, we had an infographic completely dedicated to all the possibilities of artificial intelligence. Here, the emphasis is very much on practicality. Make AI work for me. So not a promise in the future, but something that can happen now. And a very important star that you see there says AI supporting humans. We had a long discussion in the forecasting group about the way AI can be used. Is it an element on itself? How independent can AI software work? And the overall opinion was that AI is mostly supporting humans. And then AI can be used to verify trust, for tools in peer review, take out a lot of the laborious and elaborate work in peer review. For example, AI software tools can check the references, can check to what extent the data fits the conclusions of the article, can check whether images were manipulated, can check whether there was any plagiarism in the text, and things like that. AI can also be used for translations. And overall, there will be a lot of activity in AI services development for publishers, we believe, which will lead to more author services and all kind of elements that will help in the publishing process. Okay, with that said, we come to the last area in our picture, which gives us the green stars, the stars in green, and they are all connected to the theme, making things easy for me. And that theme sort of rounds the whole circle, because it means that a lot of things can be done in a more personalized way, that people can get easy, simple access by very simple ID verification, making sure that people receive their information in bite-sized form, declutter stuff, have an excellent user interface that completely fits the person who gets the information delivered. There's an important star that says no search, just deliver. A lot of researchers spend a lot of time searching information, but if the profile of the researcher is known and their information habits, then it should be easy to deliver them the information. So change the paradigm. The information will go to the user. The user doesn't have to search the information. Think of things like voice activation, easy sharing, seamless access, and a very important big star there that says, I have different roles. Because I've been talking about the end user in this picture. Very often I gave an example about researchers, but of course, everybody, every individual has different roles. A researcher is very often also a teacher, so maybe looking for information to give to the students. Or a researcher is also somebody who's applying for funds and grants, research grants, and then they need different kind of information. They can also be practitioners, doctors, engineers, lawyers, managers. And of course, they also have a private life. So they can be concerned parents or concerned citizens wanting to be able to look up things, or if they have a child with a certain rare disease, they might be looking for information. So people have different roles, which means that if you want to let them do it their way, and if you want to make things easy for them, you have to remember what role they're in for the kind of information that they will be seeking. With that, I'm coming to the end of my explanation of this infographic. Let me show you the big picture again and quickly summarize what we were trying to do here. This is a galaxy, a universe full of opportunities for publishing organizations. The end user is firmly in the middle as a central point of gravity. Around the end user, you see 7 circles that define their behavior, and especially their communication and information behavior. And in the different stars around it, you see all the opportunities that presents for publishing organizations. To quickly go through them again, let me do it my way. Treat me as a diginative. Show me I can trust you. Prove the research integrity. Let me control my data. Make AI work for me. And last but not least, make things really, really easy for me. Thank you for being able to do this presentation. I hope you enjoyed it. And if there are any questions, I'm sure that people will send them to me, and I'll be more than happy to communicate the answers to you by email. Thank you very much, and I wish you a very nice day for the rest of the day. Thank you.